Yeah. Like at normal volume, say something.
Okay.
I'm trying to make sure it looks okay.
Okay, I'm talking at normal volume. I'm even leading into
You are not talking at normal volume.
I don't... What do you...
There you are.
I'm going to spend this entire podcast episode whispering.
You're gonna piss off Mark if you do that.
Why would you give me an excuse to do that?
Shit.
Been watching a lot of ASMR artists.
ASMR. Oh, I hate that so much. Oh, that's awful. That's real bad.
I don't think it's that bad.
Oh, that's terrible. But you know what's not terrible? A brand new episode of Soon to Be a Major Motion Podcast, the podcast where we watch movies based on books and read books that were turned into movies. I am Billy Beck, one of your hosts.
I am Codie Beck, the other host.
Codie, how have you been?
Been fine. I had nothing super exciting or different to report. I have been working. I've been reading books. I have also been playing The Sims, and I did something very embarrassing.
Ooh, do tell. No one listens to this. No one will know.
So I was talking to a coworker about playing The Sims, because I went back to an older file, and I was explaining, what was going on. And I have 2 chats with this particular person in my phone. I have one with just him, and then I have a group chat that has him and a former coworker that we're still friends with. I succeeded in a particular task that I was doing in The Sims, and I went to text him an update, except I didn't text him, I texted the group chat. So with no context, my friend got a text that says, I managed to kill the old man that my daughter moved in.
No!
So immediately upon realizing that there were 2 names in the chat instead of 1...
You said, oops, wrong chat. Guess I have one more murder to do.
No, because I wouldn't admit to murder over non-protected communications. 4 is not a lot of murders, Bill. Don't worry about it.
I'm not explaining that.
So I immediately responded, this is the wrong chat. I was talking to Steven about this earlier. This is about The Sims. To which the third person in the chat responded, LMAO, this is hysterical. I showed my roommates immediately.
So if the police knock on the door halfway through this recording...
So that was me. How about you? How have you been? What have you been up to?
Meh. Nothing really new. I got a little under the weather this week, so I took a day off.
You did. I was very proud of you for prioritizing your health.
Which unfortunately means I'm not making time and a half for working today. Because I didn't break 40 hours this week after taking a day and a half off.
Boo.
Still getting paid extra. I'm getting PTO for the other days, but it's fine. I just am mentally drained and a little bit sad because the Union and Angel City both lost at the same time to the same not the same score line because Miami scored at the end.
Intermessi.
Intermessi FC. Yeah, that was rough. What else was rough is we lost an actor this week that we have talked about on the pod once or twice before. The legendary James Earl Jones passed away.
Which is kind of funny because we've all, mourned his death many times before.
Mufasa. Do you count Darth Vader mourning that death? Because once you see his face, it's not really him anymore.
That's true. But kinda.
But yeah. We lost him, 93 years old, lived a long, fulfilling life by all accounts. Legendary actor, won the EGOT. He has an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. And the Tony he won for playing Troy Maxon in a little play called Fences. We did not plan this. It wasn't us. We swear.
This was not the old man that I killed.
Ignore those texts. They were definitely about The Sims. This was not a brilliant ploy to get eyes on our podcast this week.
Oh God, imagine if this is the one that blows up.
Oh God. But this week, as we've alluded to, we are talking about August Wilson's Fences and the filmed version that came out in 2016, directed by Denzel Washington.
Only directed by? Did he not EP as well?
I'm sure he EP'd. He starred in it too. It was his little baby. His baby.
I mean,
I was just gonna try and make a joke and nothing came to mind.
you should probably put a pin in that, because that's actually something that Denzel has said.
His baby?
No. The goal with his career now is getting all of August Wilson's works filmed.
You know what? Good. Because as we'll talk about later, the reason that this wasn't made into a movie until just a few years ago, 8 years ago, is because August Wilson refused unless there was an African-American director.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, agreed. That's, when you know that when you know the work you have and what it means and, the lives lived behind it, that's a fair request to make.
Yeah. So I'm going to go first because mine is going to be a bit shorter than yours.
Oh, yes, for sure.
My introduction to this piece of work was some photos in the theater lobby that would cycle through on the little screen from past productions.
At our small liberal arts college in Pennsylvania?
Yes. I did not know pretty much anything about works by someone who wasn't named William Shakespeare when I started my theater degree. So I just knew that Fences was a play by a gentleman named August Wilson, and there were some screen grabs from the production. Now, you, on the other hand...
So, that production was my introduction to Fences. When I started at this college, I was a young theater major. Similarly, I didn't know a lot of playwrights. I knew a little bit more than just Shakespeare, but not much. And before we even started, I think it was like the summer, I was doing like a visit or something on campus and met with the technical director in the theater department. And he ran down, here are the 4 plays we're doing next year. Do you have an idea of what you want to do? And I decided I was going to audition for the first one, take a break for the second one because I knew nothing about it, and also wanted to get, ingratiated is not the right word. Acclimated to college. Then I decided the third one, which was Fences, I would do tech for. And then I would audition for the fourth one, which I cannot remember. Yes, I can remember what that was. It was Clockwork Orange, future episode of the pod.
Wait. Why were you performing in if Clockwork was the 4th show?
That might have been the 3rd one. And then Fences would have been the 4th.
Okay.
I don't recall. They were the 4 my freshman year.
Okay.
And my mom, who was with me at the moment... Remember my mother, my dear sweet mother, who recently said the N-word in a story on this pod, looked at me and said, "Don't you want to audition for Fences?" In fairness, I also did not know it was a 100% black cast. But something told me to say, no, I'm okay doing tech. And so I did. I was the light board operator on this production. And I ruined one performance.
Oh?
So, light board op might be one of the easier jobs to do. The light board itself is pre-programmed weeks ahead of time. All you have to do is look at the stage manager, and when they say go, you push the button. Usually, a few minutes before, they'll say ready, and then you hold your finger above the button, so when they say go, you can press it. So, our stage manager, on one of the nights, and this was like one of Troy's last scenes. I think it was his last scene with Corey. And it was the very...
just the most important scene.
And it was like the very end of this scene. She gives me the ready on the blackout. I also only had like 8 cues the whole show. Mm-hmm. There were a few where like the light would fade over time, so it was a go, and the lights would slowly dim over 10 minutes as the scene progresses because night's falling. But then it was like blackout, fade up for set change, like a low light, blackout again, and then lights up for the next scene. So I'm readying for the blackout, and at the very same moment, our stage manager goes, exhales with her mouth round, and I'm looking straight at her. Someone on stage says, no. And in my head, I went, go.
Oh, no.
And to his credit, the actor playing Troy did his fucking monologue in the dark.
If the audience doesn't know it's a mistake, it's a choice.
He wanted to kill me.
Oh, I'm just imagining tiny baby Bill freaking
Oh,
out.
the sweat. Just flop sweats. The whole rest of the show. I was like, I'm going to get kicked out of school. I did almost get in trouble for a different situation on that. I skipped strike.
How do you skip strike?
I left. The thing is, we built a fucking house on the stage, so strike lasted a week. And I did my time on strike. But I skipped strike.
Ah.
Yeah, I got more trouble for that than I got in for botching a light cue. And it was not, I swear to God, it was not malicious. I thought she said go.
You are incapable of malice.
Yeah, probably. So, while looking back on this play over the last, how long has it been? 15 years? No, 16 years. After looking back on this play for the last 16 years and immediately being filled with guilt and embarrassment over that situation, I'm happy that we got to revisit it, because then I could remember the actual content of this play and not me fucking up a performance. Not even like a whole performance, because like I didn't hear any audience complain about it that night either. They probably thought it was a bold choice. So I don't know. So yeah, I'm happy to go back and revisit it, where I'm divorced from that by a decade and a half, and actually getting to enjoy the words of August Wilson as an adult.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Normally this would be where we go straight into the trailer.
But someone else did research this time.
Yeah, I did research. I did. Very minimal, but I did.
Now, Codie.
Yes.
Tell me about the playwright. Tell me what you know about August Wilson.
So, August Wilson, he was born as Frederick August Cattell Jr., April 27th, 1945.
When you said born as, I thought, okay, so August is the fake part of his name. Nope.
In Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He passed away in October of 2005. He was only 60 years old, but he was in Seattle, Washington. He is known for his century cycle, also known as...
the Pittsburgh plays, right?
Yes, the Pittsburgh cycle is the other thing that it's called. It is 10 plays that all take place in a different decade in the same, except for, I believe the final play takes place in Chicago. The previous 9 all take place in the exact same neighborhood, Pittsburgh's Hill District. it is not a real place, but it is close enough to a real place. It's like the Yakuza.
Oh, how
games.
Kamurocho's not a real neighborhood in Tokyo, but it is.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's a fictionalized version of a real place.
I could have sworn that I read that this was filmed in the Hill District. So now I
think it's more his version of the Hill District is fictionalized. The main themes of the century cycle are going to be systemic and historical exploitation of African Americans, race relations, identity politics, migration, racial discrimination, all the kind of things that you sort of expect in a play or in a series of plays that goes from 1920 to 1990.
Written by a black man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did win the Pulitzer for drama in 87 and in 90.
87 was for Fences, if I recall.
Yes, 87 was for Fences and 90 was for, I believe, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Was that also one of the Pittsburgh cycle?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just going to go ahead and read the names of the Pittsburgh cycle plays. So there was Jitney, 1982. That takes place in the 1970s. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom premiered in 1984. Takes place in the 1920s. Fences premiered in 85 and takes place in the 50s. Joe Turner's Come and Gone premiered in 86, takes place in 1910s. The Piano Lesson, 1987, takes place in the 30s. Two Trains Running is 90, and that's 1960s. Seven Guitars is 1995, and that takes place in the 40s. King Hedley II premiered in 99 and takes place in the 80s. Gem of the Ocean takes place in the 1900s and premiered in 2003. And Radio Golf premiered in 2005 and takes place in the 1990s.
The last one premiered in 2005, and you said he passed that year.
Yes.
Did he complete the cycle, or were there more planned?
The only thing I can see is that it was a 10-play cycle. So I think that was the intention, was it? Because he covered from 1900 to 1990. So
yeah,
he covered the whole...
Covered the century.
Yeah. There have been several theaters that have performed the entire cycle over a period of years. And Denzel Washington, the actual quote that Denzel has, he has vowed to continue Wilson's legacy by adapting the rest of his plays into films for a wider audience. And he said, quote, "The greatest part of what's left of my career is making sure that August is taken care of," end quote.
Okay. That's some fucking noble shit from Denzel Washington.
Well, I believe he was also responsible for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom being made into a movie.
I believe he was a producer on that. I think you're right.
I think Viola Davis was also in that one.
She was.
Yes. She also has a quote here that says, Wilson's writing, quote, "captures our humor, our vulnerabilities, our tragedies, our trauma. He humanizes us and he allows us to talk." So that was what I had on August Wilson. A little bit more. He was married 3 times, divorced twice. He has 2 children.
Imagine he was married 3 times and divorced 4.
Are you like this?
I don't know. So, yeah. So, Denzel Washington wants to make all his movies. He started with probably his most well-known, and that was Fences. Yeah. Do you want to watch the trailer?
Let's go ahead and watch a trailer.
When I first met this woman, I saw Rose and I latched on to her. I told her, "Baby, I don't want to marry. I just want to be your man." Rose told me,
I told him if he wasn't a mankind and move out the way so the mankind could find me.
that's what she told me. "You're in my way, you're blocking the view, move out the way so I can find me a husband." Where Corey? I want him to help me with this fence.
He got recruited by a college football team.
It ain't gonna get him nowhere.
If he be like you in the sports, he gonna be all right. Ain't but two men ever played baseball good as you.
And what it ever get me? I ain't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of.
Hey, Pop, can I ask you a question? How come you ain't never liked me?
What law is there say I got to like you? A man is supposed to take care of his family. You live in my house, fill your belly with my food, put your behind on my bed because you're my son. Now don't you go through life worrying about whether somebody like you or not. You best be making sure they're doing right by you.
Corey just trying to fill out your shoes.
I don't want him to be like me. I want him to get as far away from my life as he possibly can get. You the only decent thing ever happened to me, Rose.
You can't be nobody but who you are, Troy. That's all you got to measure yourself against the world out there.
Rose, I got something to tell you. I don't know how to tell you this.
Why, Troy? Why?
You ought to know it's time.
I don't want to know, damn it!
What you ever given me?
Your feet, them bones that pumping hard.
You never done nothing but hold me back, afraid I was gonna be better than you.
Everything that boy do, he do for you.
It's not easy for me to admit that I've been standing in the same place for 18 years.
Well, I've been standing with you. I got a life too. Don't you think I had dreams and hopes? What about my life? What about me?
What are you gonna do?
Some people build fences to keep people out, and other people build fences to keep people in.
Oh, that trailer really does try to make it seem like 95% of that movie doesn't take place in the backyard. Troy Maxon is an aging black garbage man in 1950s Pittsburgh. While fighting tight budgets, systemic racism, and the desires of his sons to either play music and or football, he knocks up another woman and then dies off screen. On the morning of his funeral, his family forgives him and his brother opens the gates of heaven. Bit of a short synopsis, because not much happens, right? But the structure of this play and film, because let's be honest here, this film is... So, I kind of need to go right into the cast and crew.
Yeah.
So, directed by Denzel Washington. You know who he is. I don't have to tell you who he is. It's not his first direction, though. It's not his directorial debut. He also directed Antoine Fisher, The Great Debaters, and I think he's directed another since. Written by August Wilson. We talked about him. The Piano Lesson and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom have also been adapted to film at this point.
Oh, I didn't realize Piano Lesson had been.
Yeah, I don't think Denzel Washington did it. I think somebody else did.
Oh.
Troy, played by Denzel Washington, won his Oscars for Glory, Training Day. Rose was played by Viola Davis. She was in The Help. She's in the DC Extended Universe as Amanda Waller. She won her Oscar for this. She won Best Supporting Actress.
Okay.
Jim Bono was played...
Really? Support, not lead?
So here's the thing. When she was up for supporting, everyone was like, you need to be up for lead actress. This is not a supporting role. And Viola Davis said, but I'll win if I go up as supporting. And she was right.
Get that Oscar, Viola.
Jim Bono was played by Stephen McKinley Henderson. He was in Red Hook Summer. Mm-hmm. And he played the same character in The Sweet Blood of Jesus, which is the Spike Lee vampire movie.
Okay.
And he was also in Dune.
Yeah, he's got one of those faces.
He's one of those guys, like, you know you've seen him, but you can't place him. Mm-hmm. Corey was played by Jovan Adepo. He was in the HBO Watchmen series. He was in Netflix's Three Body Problem.
Okay, that's another pod eligible.
Lyons was played by Russell Hornsby. He was in Get Rich or Die Trying, Creed 2. And Gabriel was played by McKelty Williamson, who you may recognize as Bubba from Forrest Gump.
Oh my god.
He was also Baby O in Con Air.
Nope.
And
don't remember him from Con Air.
I barely do as well. Of those 6 names, the only one that was not in the 2010 Broadway revival was Jovan Adepo, who played Corey.
Corey's going to be the role you age out of.
So this film, exactly. This film is essentially a filmed production of that revival on site in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
They moved a few scenes to the front yard. They moved a few scenes to the kitchen. And they moved one scene to a bar. But other than that, I don't think any of the dialogue is really changed. August Wilson is the only credited screenwriter.
Okay.
I still remember, like, watching it. I haven't heard the words of this play in a decade and a half, except for the last line. Because that, for whatever reason, wound up in my lexicon. But there were entire beats and scenes that played like a song I haven't heard in years when I was watching the movie, just because I'd heard them so many times back in college.
So that answers a question I was going to ask, but I will ask it anyway. The union bit is in there then.
When he goes to the union rep to get a job as the driver instead of being the
I think he called it a lifter.
Something like that, yeah. That's in there. They added a few interstitial scenes with no dialogue.
Okay.
So there's a scene where, like, right before he has the meeting, before he gets promoted, you see him nervous at the place and a white man calls him in. There's a scene where Corey goes to a Marine recruitment station, which surely will turn out for him well. Nothing bad happened to Black Marines in the 60s. But there's a scene where he's considering it in front of a recruitment station, stuff like that. But otherwise, like, it's pretty much unchanged from the original script.
Do you see Alberta?
No.
Okay.
Not a once.
Okay. All right.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah.
I think it helps that she's off screen.
I feel like it also, from a writing standpoint, it also makes it easier for the audience to picture whoever they want.
I was picturing Suge from The Color Purple.
See,
like that kind of character.
I was picturing, this is going to sound atrocious, but I was basically picturing a teenager.
You know?
I was picturing, like, young, cute, flirty, not old enough to quite understand, like, old enough to know what she's doing, but not quite old enough to care yet.
I can understand that. That's valid. I don't think there's enough detail in the script to put it one way or the other, and I think that's the point.
Yeah. She's a boogeyman.
Yeah. So the reason I was so short with my synopsis is that the structure of this play is just moments in the backyard of the Maxon home as either Troy is telling stories with Jim Bono as they're drinking, or he's getting in confrontations with his son over whether or not he can play football, or he's, revealing secrets to Rose about his affair and upcoming third child with a third woman.
So the scene when Rose is introduced in the first scene,
mm-hmm.
The way that she's introduced is described as she's in the kitchen and she's on the porch, and it's kind of both. Like, she will float in and out of the scene as necessary in whichever room she's supposed to be in.
Yeah, the way we staged it in college, the back of the house was on a diagonal upstage right. So the big window and the door were there, so she could pop out the window and say some lines, come through the door, say some lines. So we did it similarly. Here they moved some scenes completely inside, some scenes completely outside, whatever, just make it, a little bit more cinematic. But since there's not a lot to talk about plot-wise, there's a lot of thematic stuff we can go into.
Yeah. Well, something that I asked you to keep in mind as you were watching it was a marginalized man will still be a man first.
Mm-hmm. And I have notes on toxic masculinity.
What? Toxic masculinity in the Black community? Never.
Toxic masculinity in any community in the 50s? That's not a black thing. That's a masculine thing. But,
yes, but also it's a very specific type of toxic masculinity in the black community.
Mm-hmm. And with Troy, where I noticed it come out is that he acknowledges the abuse he suffered as a kid. He'll tell stories about the abuse that he suffered under the hands of his own father. Mm-hmm. And he will turn and do the exact same thing to his sons. Because he remembers the moment he became a man, when he finally stood up to his dad, and he's waiting for them to do the same. But he's not recognizing the trauma that he's causing and the pain that he's delivering upon his own children.
I feel like it's that thing that we're talking about right now with either quote-unquote gentle parenting, authoritative parenting, same thing. Mm-hmm. Where a lot of millennials and Gen Xers, and even to an extent the older Gen Zers, grew up with certain parenting styles, and they're like, hey, that was kind of fucked up. And then the mostly boomer and some Gen X parents are like, well, I didn't hit you, so it's fine. I gave you what you needed. You didn't starve. And it's that kind of disconnect of not realizing, like, or it's the disconnect of children realizing, oh, I was just a box to my parents. They checked the box of having kids.
It's that monologue that he gives. Part of it was in the trailer. Where does it say that I have to like you?
Exactly.
Your food, your belly is filled with my food. You live under my roof. You have an education. You have these opportunities, even though he's withholding opportunities.
Or actively sabotaging opportunities.
Yeah. But he still thinks, I raised you. I provide for you. Now you work for me. I made sure that you lived this long. Now you got to take care of... that you gotta be a man too and go down the path I went down. Even though Troy wanted to go down the path of athletics.
Yeah. But he couldn't, so...
He couldn't because segregation, and he was a good baseball player, but by the time Jackie Robinson entered the National League, is where the Dodgers would have been then. I don't want to say the major leagues because the Negro leagues are the major leagues now, which means Troy Maxson was a major leaguer. So shut up about a Troy. You did make it. Nah. But yeah, by the time baseball was desegregated, Troy would have been too old to make it. He would have been in his 40s.
Which is something that I believe in one of the few moments where Rose stands up to him, she kind of points that out. She's like, why will you not admit you were just too old? Yeah. Because he also, spent 15 years in prison. Mm-hmm. Which is where he learned to play baseball.
Yep, and where he met Jim Bono.
And that's another thing is that, like, this play does a really good job of having archetypes that are characters. Mm-hmm. Because Rose is absolutely the mother archetype. That's why she takes the baby at the end. Yeah. And it's also kind of an interesting, like, way to look at it because ultimately the role of father and the role of mother consume them and destroy their relationship because she takes the baby knowing that that is going to ruin any possible chance for reconciliation with her husband, but he also gives her the baby knowing that he is satisfying his role as father in doing so. It's kind of like he's stuck in between a rock and a hard place.
He's limiting the entire role of father into the word provider.
Yes.
He comes home every week. He provides the paycheck. How does he word it? He drills a hole into forever. What's the line about how he fucks?
Yeah, he lays down on top of her and tries to drill a hole in forever.
Or punch a hole into forever or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he has his fifth of gin.
But he only drinks once a week, so it's fine.
Except, is that true? How much... I'm skipping a little bit ahead in my notes here, but when Troy is trying to explain why he cheated, he just transitions into baseball metaphor. He's like, I met you, I hit a single, I was safe on first, everything was great, but I tried to steal second. Like, he has that monologue.
Yeah.
He's very clearly speaking in metaphor because he doesn't know how to be honest. And all throughout the play, all throughout the movie, he's telling stories, and somebody's saying, like, the story changes every time you say it. That's not how it happened.
It's usually Rose.
Does he ever actually tell the truth?
I don't think he can tell the truth. Because if he told the truth, he'd have to look at himself, and I think the reason that he is so angry and so resentful of his kid is that he sees himself in his kid, but he sees himself not broken. And I think that's why he's so angry, is because he's like, I could have been that. I could have had that.
Yeah, like, he's jealous that his son has opportunities he didn't.
Yeah.
Because we didn't mention it, but Corey, his son, is a high school football player.
Yes.
And when the play opens, a college recruiter is going to come see him.
Yep.
And he's good enough to go play in college on a scholarship, get an education that we know Troy can't afford to give him. And Troy, instead of looking at that logically, thinks, no, you need to go work. Because if you're at football practice, you can't work at the A&P. You got to go work. You got to help me provide for this family.
Yeah, not seeing that.
And then you need to learn a trade. Not understanding, like, it's not going to cost him anything to send his kid to an actual school and get an actual education, which meant something in the 50s.
I feel
unlike our useless degrees.
I feel like he also didn't understand. He couldn't see the benefit in him going to school, because I didn't go to school and I didn't need it, but he doesn't see that will put Corey ahead. Because he part of the issue is that he also doesn't see he doesn't understand how the world has changed. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't know how to cope with it. He's just like, yeah, you go to trade school and you learn a trade and then you work forever. And this is what you get. Even at the same time as he's cheating because he isn't happy with what he did.
Exactly. Like, his worldview is so narrow that he doesn't believe that there are other options for black people.
Yeah.
And, like, the opening scene, the opening bit with him and Jim is them talking about how he has this meeting coming up because he brought up that there aren't any black drivers. Yep. That it's always black people on the back of the truck lifting. And it's always white people in the front of the truck driving. And he brings that up as like, hey, why is this still segregated? Because that's always on his mind, because that affected him so greatly with baseball.
Yeah.
And he just assumes, because it affected him with baseball, it's affecting him at his job as a garbage man. He just assumes it will affect his son in the exact same way.
Yeah. And it's also, he points out, like, driving is easier. Even Bono says later, yeah, I think I'm going to do my 2 years and then retire. And he's like, yeah, I might do the same. He's like, you can drive for another 5 years.
Yeah, you're not lifting the barrels every day.
Yeah. So I do want to talk a little bit more about Alberta.
Yes.
Because that was something that I picked up on immediately, tying back into the lying, is Bono knows what's going on the whole time, even though Troy won't admit it. Mm-hmm. Because every time he brings up that girl over at the Taylors, that Alberta girl, that Alberta gal, whatever, Troy immediately gets defensive.
Yep.
And starts deflecting. He's like, what do you mean? I can't buy her a couple drinks? He's like, no, you can, but you need to be, like, Bono is the one that's telling him, you need to be honest with yourself about what this is. And especially once the girl ends up pregnant, and Bono's like, bro, you gotta fucking tell Rose. And that, they do the rule of threes. There's 3 conversations that they have before he finally broaches the subject with Rose. Mm-hmm. And it again ties back into that lying, because he won't admit it to himself what he's doing. Because if he admits it to himself, then he knows it's wrong.
There's also a bit of a power dynamic with Bono that I think Bono bringing it up, he refuses to acknowledge it, because to him he is a step above Bono. Because as Bono admits later, they met in prison, and when they got out, Bono just followed Troy, because he saw Troy as a man who kind of knew what to do. When Troy got together with Rose, then Bono went and found himself a wife. And when Troy will build his fence, then Bono will buy the fridge, things like that. Like he's established that dynamic has been established for 30 years, however long they've known each other. 33
something like that
years at the time of the play. 15 in prison, 18 after he met Rose.
I think also the fact that Bono's marriage falls apart and he gets divorced after Troy and Rose separate.
Is that in the final scene?
Yes.
I completely missed that this go around.
I'm pretty sure.
I believe
he says
you.
that.
I believe you. I just completely missed that aspect. But yeah, I think there's still that element to it where anytime Bono brings up something or criticizes Troy, internally Troy is saying, you're just following me around. You just do what I do. I can't trust you to know better than me because all you do is what I do. And it's only when she gets knocked up that he finally reveals the truth because there's, physical evidence of his wrongdoing.
Thought there was something in here about maybe not. Maybe that's earlier. But yeah, I thought that Lucille and Bono got divorced, but maybe they didn't.
I'm not sure. I don't recall.
I also think that speech that Rose has at the end when she's talking to Corey, when Corey's like, I'm not going to the funeral. I have to beat him at least once. And Rose is like, you can't. He's in you.
Yeah.
And she's talking about how she has a line that's basically like, the shadow that you think is chasing you, you either have to cut it down or like live in it. And it's again that that's where he makes the decision that he's gonna go to the funeral. And also after he has the conversation with Raynell.
Yeah, with Raynell, and they sing the Old Boy Blue song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think it would be interesting because it really feels like a third time's the charm with Raynell. Like, he finally got it right as a dad. Because, he fucked it up with Lions.
It's Lions, yeah.
Yes. He fucked it up with Lions. He fucked it up with Corey. But he did his best with Raynell. And I wonder how much of that is also because it's a girl and he's allowed to love a girl.
I was about to say, it's because it's a girl. He doesn't have an example from his internal worldview to follow of how growing up should be for a girl. So I feel like he trusts a lot more of that to Rose.
And that's what Rose says too. She's like, I'm going to give her the best I have of me.
Mm-hmm. And I think he treats her more delicately because of that. But we also don't see any of that in the play. One scene is she comes home with the baby, or he comes home with the baby, and then there's one scene without the baby even involved, and then it's 6 years later and he's dead.
Yeah. But the fact that Raynell doesn't seem sad, but clearly, she recognizes who the man was that died, which indicates he was around,
Yeah, she recognizes him as her father. I think he lives in that house the whole time until he dies. I think he dies in the backyard.
Yeah. Yeah, he was swinging the bat.
Yeah, at the ball hanging from the tree.
Yep.
So what do you think about his constant references to fighting a devil, fighting death?
I think for him it's both literal and metaphorical. Because Rose says he was super ill when this happened, but I think he sees it every day because he sees what happened to his brother.
Mm-hmm. For reference, his brother Gabe was in World War II, had half of his head blown off, and is now mentally deficient.
Yes. And it's all throughout the play, you also learn more and more that he feels guilty because he took advantage of his brother's injury. He feels like he took advantage of his brother's injury.
He took advantage of his brother's injury.
Yeah, and that's why he feels that way, because he did.
Like, that's a big part of the dichotomy of the character of Troy, is that he's so vocal about what it means to be, like, when he became a man was when he fought off his dad, and Corey will be a man when he fights him off, but also he feels so emasculated because he couldn't provide for his family if it wasn't for the $3,000 that Gabe got from the army that he used to put a down payment on the house that Gabe doesn't even live in anymore.
Yeah. And also the story about the $10 for the furniture, $10 a month.
Yeah.
I thought that was very clever, because he's just like, yeah, it's a white man. Obviously, it's the devil. So.
Oh, yes.
So I think it is for him, the devil is the weight that he deals with of his own, like, the constant struggle he's in between feeling like he has to be the masculine provider and knowing that he failed, but also knowing like he's struggling against, to an extent, he understands the system he's struggling against. I would be interested to see a theater stage a production of Death of a Salesman and Fences back to back.
I think I referred to this as the Black Death of a Salesman when...
Because it's just like, it's... Both of the main characters are... They're foils, but they're the same. Because neither of them know how to love their kids, but they try their best. Both of them are struggling against a system in a world they don't understand. Both of them are cheating on their wives and providing for the other person more than they are for their wife. Mm-hmm. With Troy, it's more like emotionally he's providing more for her. Yeah.
And she's also providing an emotional support that he's not asking from Rose.
Yeah. It's the Madonna and the whore. She's the mother of his children, so he can't ask of her. Rose is the mother of his children, so he has to treat her a certain way, but he can be himself. He feels like he can be more himself with this child. In my head, it was a child.
Yeah. With this other woman.
Yeah, with the other woman. And, yeah. So to go back to your original question... I do think he probably hallucinated a devil, but I think it's because it was his sick mind allowing him to put form to something that has always chased him.
So, I looked at the whole wrestle the devil for 3 days thing from a little bit of a different perspective. And that comes from my upbringing as an evangelical Christian.
Evangelical Christian upbringing.
So in the book of Genesis, Jacob wrestles an angel overnight. And when he survives, essentially, because no one wins, his name is changed to Israel. Yes, that Israel. The father of, the 12 Jewish tribes in the Old Testament. And there's a part of me that wonders if Troy sees himself as this great patriarch.
I think he does.
And that's like a seminal moment in his life when it's another moment when he became a man, right?
It's a moment in his own myth.
Yeah. And he's thinking, okay, and my 12 sons, lions, and Troy, and Esau, and like... with all these other women that Rose doesn't even know about. All these... No. Like, part of... Oh, I almost just told a really personal story. That time my dad cheated and said he was just like King David.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. That kind of, like, self-aggrandizing way of getting around something horrible, It's not quite the same thing, but there's part of that. Or that's kind of like the viewpoint I viewed that from. Mm-hmm. Because it's too similar, especially with a character named Gabriel who is trying to blow the trumpet so that St. Peter can open the gates. Because when his head got blown off, he met St. Peter.
And he said Troy's name is in his book.
His name's in the book. And there's another biblical reference that just escaped me. Maybe there's not. Maybe I'm losing it. What do you think about the end, by the way?
So
the end for reference. Gabriel tries twice to blow his trumpet to open the gates for Troy. And it's not until the third attempt that anything comes out, and then they hear a heavenly trumpet sound that's not coming from Gabriel's trumpet. And everyone is shocked except for Gabriel, and that's the way that go. And that's the end of the play. And that's the one line I remember because I say that phrase all the time.
So, something that happens throughout, actually, the century cycle is that sort of magical realism, supernatural element.
Okay. That's the information I wanted.
So, it's one of those things where it is not made 100% explicit. It is left up to the audience if you think that happened or not. But in the piano lesson, the piano actually, like, communicates with ancestors and, like, releases the ghosts of ancestors. Gabriel, thinks he is the Archangel Gabriel and has to open the trumpet and has to open the gates. And there's other things that are, like, more or less clear supernatural elements. So I think that you can definitely interpret it. However, the interpretation is meant to be left up to the particular audience member. My interpretation of it is that Gabe was gonna make sure that his brother got to heaven no matter what. Whatever his failings, his brother was gonna get to heaven.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. I think Wilson intended it to be ambiguous, like you said. I never really got it when we were doing the production. I liked how it was portrayed in the film because you could write it off as, oh, it's the score of the movie playing, or you could write it off as, are they hearing that? And I like that little touch at the end of the movie. They also, like, pan up to clouds, like, exposing the sun and, you know, God rays coming down and all that. The last scene, though, kind of bothered me in general this time around because Troy is a dick for like 2 hours and 15 minutes of this 2-hour 20 movie, and then the last 5 minutes is everyone just saying the nicest things they can about him.
You don't speak ill of the dead. But also, when I finished the play and I came home yesterday and I was just like, so are we supposed to like Troy, or...
I don't think we are.
I don't think we are either. I think we're supposed to understand him.
And I think to an extent we're supposed to understand how other people can like Troy. I think in the play we're seeing him at his lowest points. Like drunkenly picking fights with his own son, threatening to kill him with a baseball bat, is a pretty low point.
Yeah.
But we do see moments of him jovial, and we see where there was once love in that house.
Like, he obviously, at the beginning of the play at least, he and Rose obviously love each other.
Yeah.
Whether it's a love born out of necessity?
It's not as much a, like, romantic physical love like you get with teenagers who just started dating, but it's the love you have with a couple who's been together for 18 years.
We're closer to that number than I like.
I had the exact same thought.
So when Rose is introduced, let me read the stage. Rose enters from the house. She is 10 years younger than Troy. Her devotion to him stems from her recognition of the possibilities of her life without him. A succession of abusive men and their babies, a life of partying and running the streets, the church, or aloneness with its attendant pain and frustration. She recognizes Troy's spirit as a fine and illuminating one, and she either ignores or forgives his faults, only some of which she recognizes.
Just remember the third church thing is that she starts going to church after they break up.
Their relationship is one born out of the fact that they both recognize they're not gonna get something better, and it has very little to do with the fact that they actually like or love each other. But, as any reader of a forced proximity relationship will tell you, you can't share a house with someone and not develop some sort of, at least, camaraderie. And I would describe that as what they have.
You've never seen any episodes of the show Fear Thy Roommate, have you?
Only the ones where I've been around while you've been watching them.
You don't share a house with somebody that you like for 18 years without camaraderie. You can share a house with somebody and come out with hatred and rage.
That's true.
But, yeah, that's...
I think ultimately we're supposed to recognize that Troy is a deeply flawed person in a system that kind of chewed him up and spit him out. He won a couple times.
Yeah, like, he won his fight with the union to become a driver.
Yeah.
He didn't like it in the long run because he has no one to talk to.
Yeah. He got Rose, and like he says, she was the best thing that ever happened to him. But ultimately, he still feels like he got stuck into that provider role, and he didn't feel like he had to do that with the other woman.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, his love, his need for something else kills her.
Yeah. And that's why he challenges death.
Yeah.
Which, amazing monologue.
Yeah. There's a lot of beefy monologues. I was surprised Rose got her beefy monologues in there, too.
Her monologue about what about my hopes, what about my dreams is one of the best pieces of writing in American literature. It really is.
Scene where he immediately is like, it reminds me of the scene in Streetcar where Stella and Blanche are having the conversation where Blanche is telling her about how they've lost Belle Reve. And it's that kind of like, now don't freak out. What do you mean? I'm not freaking out. Well, don't freak out. It's that kind of thing. It's that same kind of conversation here where he's like, Rose, don't freak out. And she's like, well, I'm gonna freak out now. And he immediately like uses the fact that she gets emotional against her. And she's like, did you have a dream?
Luna just woke herself up in probably the cutest way possible.
Where he is immediately like, listen, I needed other things that you weren't providing. And she's like, but you were like a good woman and whatever. And she immediately is like, no, you are not the fucking victim here.
Oh,
and
yeah.
this is the like second time she stands up to him, because the first time is when she's like, fucking let your child have a chance. And she defends him, or she defends Corey from him. And then you have this where she's like, bro, you are not the victim.
And in this moment is when Corey defends her.
Yeah.
That's strike two.
Yep.
Baseball metaphors, sorry.
The other thing that's really interesting is that conversation where Rose is talking to Corey. And she says basically like, you have to take the bad with the good. Like, you have to take the fact that...
You have to take the crookeds with the straights?
Yes. Where you have to... He didn't know how to love you. He did what he could. I don't understand why he... Like, even I don't understand why he spent all his time trying to make you better than him. Like, trying to give you advantages and then treating you exactly the same way as his dad treated him. Like, he tried to give you the best of him, but also only showed you the worst.
Yeah.
That shows that, like, she really did understand what was going on with him and just kind of let him be and do what he was doing, because she knew there was no point in fighting it.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad he's dead.
Yeah, he sucked.
He sucked, man.
He was the worst.
What a dick.
But I mean, pretty much every classic literature character sucks.
That's what makes it entertaining.
Yeah.
You don't want to A play that is 2 hours of just like a nice guy being nice will make you feel good, but you won't remember it.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much we could talk about with every character of this play and how deep and flawed and real they are as people. And like I said, this play feels like the opposite of an Instagram feed. If you look at somebody's Instagram feed, you're seeing like
all the highlights.
All their highlights, all their best moments.
Yeah.
This is just their fucking shittiest, worst days. This is their stories. This is their, like, I'm only gonna leave this up for 24 hours, but I've got heartburn like a motherfucker. Like,
this is the leave Britney alone.
Yeah, this is Chris Crocker's bad day.
Yes.
So
I believe that's not her name anymore.
Did she change her name? I thought she kept it as Chris because it's an ambiguous enough name.
I think that might be a stage name.
Kara Cunningham is her name.
Oh.
My mistake.
Professionally, her name is Chris Crocker.
Okay. Oh, she did porn. Anyway. Thanks, Wikipedia. I'm trying to find a segue to go, speaking of porn, and then dive into something else, and it's not coming to me. Is there anything else you wanted to dive into? Because we hit the talking points I had.
No, I think we touched on what I wanted to touch on.
Cool. I only have like a few little things here. Because, like, what trivia are you going to have about a movie like this? Like, ooh, it was secretly written by Tony Kushner instead. So, Denzel Washington, Spike Lee, and Tony Kushner did uncredited treatments on the script.
Okay.
So it was secretly written by Tony Kushner. Angels in America, if you don't know. But August Wilson was working on the screenplay up until his death, basically. And when I say screenplay, I don't mean the dialogue, I mean the other stuff. And yeah, I can definitely see some Kushner. I can definitely see some Spike Lee in there. I would love to see Spike Lee direct this.
Yeah, I think he would be able to nail the kind of like lighthearted dialogue between Bono and Troy, and then turn it into those devastating moments between father and son.
That wasn't lacking in this film. What was lacking is anything really actually cinematic. Because once the dialogue started rolling, then it was just like watching a production of the play on a higher budget set. But yeah, I think Spike Lee might have done some more visually interesting things. Because the only like cinematically interesting thing Denzel did was during, I think it's his last speech, when he's taunting death the last time. The corners of the screen started getting hazy.
Okay.
So it did like a visual effect. I'm imagining that monologue with the Spike Lee dolly shot where he's standing still but dollying through the hill district of Pittsburgh, doing that as like the sun is going down and like maybe buildings around him are getting more decrepit or something like that. Like that's the kind of thing Spike Lee would do that Washington just doesn't have the cinematic experience as a director.
Yeah.
To quite do in the same way. Not that he's a bad director. I just honestly haven't seen any of his other movies, so I can't really gauge it based solely on this. But I'm glad at least Spike Lee was involved somewhere.
Yeah.
Paramount actually bought the rights to this in 1987 when it, won Tonys and all that shit. And they wanted Eddie Murphy to play Corey.
87?
In 87.
That was like Raw, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it would be terrible. I think it would have launched him into a different kind of career.
That was the idea. He wanted to do something more serious. But he was also 27.
Yeah.
So they didn't, obviously. Because weird decision.
He could be Lions, but even that's a little...
It's not that... having Eddie Murphy in the late 80s playing lions is a waste of Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
He would have been too old for Corey and too young for Troy. And too male for Rose. There's not really anything else he could have done. I wouldn't have trusted him in the 80s to do Gabriel.
Yeah, definitely not. And not... Bono is the same deal as, like, Lions. He doesn't have enough screen time.
And he's also Troy's age. And that's all the characters. It's only the 6.
Something that was interesting about the actual... I don't know if it's just the version that I have. I have the...
You have, like, a non-stage use copy?
Yeah, I have a non-stage use copy, which could be part of it. This is 85. But, it does not have... It lists the characters at the beginning, but it doesn't have any, like, explanation besides who they are. You get all of the explanation in the end, later. Like, as they're introduced.
Okay, yeah.
It also opens with a quote from August Wilson. I don't know if it's from a different play, but the quote is, "When the sins of our fathers visit us, we do not have to play host. We can banish them with forgiveness as God in his largeness and laws." And I think that explains Corey and Gabe in the end.
We could just, like, edit all of our talk out and just say that quote, and that's the whole podcast. Because that's just, like, yeah, that sums it up.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Troy was unable to banish the sins of his own father. They were visited upon his son, and his son might be able to banish them. We don't know.
He's got to survive Nam first.
Oh.
Yeah. So you recommend the play?
I do. It is accessible. The language is accessible. It does, of course, use the N-word relatively frequently.
So... on that, I want to clarify something I said on the last episode about when it's appropriate and not appropriate to use the N-word. I meant for white creators. I thought I made that clear. I don't think I made that clear. That's why I was talking about Tarantino movies.
Yeah.
If you're a black writer, use it however you see fit. It's yours.
Yes.
Tarantino, shut the fuck up.
Yes. So, that's really the only... I mean, there's, like, damn and hell, etc., whatever. But that's really the only, like, mildly objectionable word. It's very good. August Wilson's writing style is very lyrical and poetic, but still accessible. I enjoyed it. It probably took me about 2 hours to read. There's a little bit more. The version that I have also has an introduction from Lloyd Richards, who staged the original production of Fences, and his
so much work he must have had to do. Sorry, the whole thing takes place in the backyard. It's the most one set play.
His introduction is really good. There's a little bit that I believe was written by August Wilson. So when you're flipping through it, you've got the title, the opening page, and then you've got the premiere information, and then the Broadway information. Then you got the characters, the setting, and then there's something called the play. And the play basically sets the stage for why this play. Like, why are we talking about these people in this city now? And you don't get that a lot. Especially in the playwright's own words. So it's interesting to get that.
Yeah, not a lot of playwrights do their own dramaturgy.
Yeah.
That's a $7 word for you. Took me a minute to remember what that word even was.
But yes, I do recognize it. I think the copy that I have is not even 100 pages. It is 101 pages.
Yeah.
But it is very good. Troy sucks. That's my ending. What about you? Do you recommend the movie?
So before I get into this, I want to read a quote. This is from Todd Black, the producer of the film. Quote, "The star of the movie is the screenplay and August Wilson's words. What Denzel said to me, to Scott, to all the actors, the cinematographer, and the production designer was, don't make any decision without August Wilson's words leading you to make that decision. Whatever you do, let the words inform your decision first. That's what we all had to abide by. End quote. This is where I have an issue with this movie. The whole point of us doing movies based on plays for, 4 episodes, whatever we're doing, was the question of why are they making this into a movie? When we do it with novels, it's pretty obvious. You've got your book. Oh, I liked the story. I would like to see so-and-so play this. And, you make the movie. But with the play, you're translating a live audiovisual experience into a pre-recorded audiovisual experience. There are some advantages with the movie, like we saw with Titus, where you can change settings lightning fast. You can do camera tricks, crazy editing, visual effects, digital visual effects especially, that you can't do on stage without being chintzy and just throwing a projector up there, and that's lazy on stage. With when we did Little Foxes, it was a little bit different because that movie came out so soon after the play that it was almost like a way for hey, you're hearing about this play that's showing in New York. You can't go see the play right now in Iowa, but watch the film. Also, that movie had some additional scenes. It had an additional character. It left the parlor a few times. Fences doesn't do that. With the exception of just shifting around the property, it's still the one set backyard play. It's still, as Todd Black said, it is the words of August Wilson. Where I have an issue with that now is it's not 1945 anymore. It's not 1987, 88, 89 anymore. This play is super accessible. You picked up your copy at the library.
There was another copy on the shelf.
There's another one on the shelf. You could probably get a copy of it on archive.org, which is a great resource for all kinds of things. You could probably, wherever you are in this country, as long as there's black people around, you can find a community theater production of this play. We did this at our small liberal arts college in 2008. I had seen 6 live performances and countless rehearsals of this play by the time I was 20. Until you mentioned that Denzel was trying to preserve Wilson's works and spread them by making them all films, I didn't see the point in making this into a movie. Especially knowing that 80% of the cast was the 2010 revival. All watching this did is make me wish I could go back in time and see this in New York, Because I've seen a live production of this. It is a powerful fucking play when you have a good actor delivering these amazing words. They don't even have to be a great actor, because these words, like Todd Black said, are the star. And they're great, and it's memorable, and these characters are memorable because they're so well written. It doesn't add anything to put it on film and then throw it on Amazon Prime. I guess some people will see it that wouldn't normally see it because, plays are too fancy schmancy for me. I'd rather watch a movie. But also, that kind of person isn't going to watch Fences. So I'm happy that Denzel is doing this, that he's trying to produce these works into film because they're great works. August Wilson's a very great playwright. Won a fucking Pulitzer or 2. So maybe I'm just not the right audience for it. Maybe my theater degree is weighing too heavy on me.
I mean, honestly, I feel like we wouldn't even have that gap of, plays are too fancy schmancy for me if Broadway wasn't so fucking allergic to filming versions of the show.
Yeah.
I would 100% watch a filmed version of the 2010 revival of Fences.
Oh my god, yes.
And I would fucking pay money for that.
And put a camera, I almost said hard cam because, me. Put a camera in the back of the house, and then 2-3 cameras on each side, and one floating in front. I don't know if you even need the live audience there. I don't know if they would add anything for a film. Sure, why not? But then you get the angles. You can get the close-ups on their faces and their performances, which are magic. Viola Davis is fucking incredible in this. Washington's amazing in this. I have nothing against the performances in this movie. They're fucking incredible. There's a reason it was nominated for 4 or 5 Oscars. It was nominated for Best Picture. That's the one that I'm like, was it? But the acting nominations, absolutely. It's something about knowing that, seeing the performances in this form, knowing that so much of the performance is down to the editor and not to the performers in film. How many takes did they do of each of these scenes until they got the right one? You don't have that luxury on stage. And that's what makes a great stage performance that much tastier. Is it's live. It's happening right in front of you, and they can't take it back. And it kind of loses some of that, knowing that there's nothing else cinematic about this movie to pull it further from the stage and make it a movie. I still gave it a 3 out of 5. Because those performances are really good. And the screenplay is really good.
It just kind of made you wish you were seeing it on stage.
Yeah. I still remember how I felt in the 200-seat theater that I sat in the back of during performances of this. And I didn't feel the same seeing Denzel do it on screen. If I had seen him do it on stage, I'd probably be losing my mind. Especially that end scene with where I am emotionally as an adult. I don't have daddy issues. What are you talking about? But yeah, something about it feels insincere to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
it feels artificial.
And this is coming back to how Troy Maxson talks in metaphor and expands on stories, and is he really telling the truth? Is Denzel really doing this because he wants the world to see August Wilson's Fences? Or is he doing this because he knows how well he played that role in 2010 and wants a record of it? It could be both. Could be neither. Maybe it was just a paycheck to him. I don't know the man. We can only go by what he said, what we researched, but I guess if you don't have access to a live production of it, it works. But I would definitely recommend seeking out a live production.
I mean, I want to see if there's any local theaters doing a live production.
I almost Googled as soon as the movie was done because I want to see it live. It's a great play. So that's my rant on. So, we've talked about war and violence and a familial civil war and the plight of the black man in Pittsburgh in the 50s. This has been a pretty depressing series for us, huh?
A little bit.
Do you want to lighten the mood for the next episode?
I think so, yeah.
I think we should lighten the mood. Next time around, we're doing Arsenic and Old Lace.
Weirdly, also has someone convinced they're a famous person.
Also,
with a trumpet.
I'm pretty sure murders as well. I'm pretty sure there's but also Cary Grant's badonk in this movie. That man is caked to the gills.
Bro, you need to pick your struggle. You can't be gay on Maine and have daddy issues.
Honey, I am a 3-dimensional character. I could be whatever I want to be on any given day. And if you want to find out more about us, you can check out our socials. Linktree is in the description below. It's linktr.ee/soonmajorpod. If you have any suggestions for the show, comments, opinions you want to share, things we got wrong, you can reach out to us on the socials or at soonmajorpod@gmail.com. I did that too smoothly. I feel like I did it wrong. There we go. There's a little mess.
Please edit that out.
Nope. There's the slop you tune in for.
Why are you like this?
I'm really tired and I want to go to bed.
It's like 9 o'clock.
It is 9:40 p.m.
It's like 9 o'clock. It's close enough.